Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 25, Shloka 9. So please repeat. Utpatti sthiti laya hetavasya kalpa sadvadya prakriti gunayadikshaya yadrupam dhruvam makrutamedekamatman nanadat kadamuha vedatasya vartma. Utpatti of creation, sthiti, maintenance, laya and dissolution, hetavaha, the original causes, asya, of this material world, kalpaha, capable of acting, sattva adyaha, headed by the sattva guna, prakriti guna, the modes of material nature, yet of whom, ikshaya, by the glance, asan, became, yadrupam, the form of whom, dhruvam, unlimited, akritam, uncreated, yet, who, ekam, one, atman, in himself, nana, variously, adat, has manifested, kadam, how, who, uha, certainly, veda, can understand, tasya, his, vartma, path. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. By his glance, the Supreme Personality of Godhead enables the modes of material nature to act as the causes of universal creation, maintenance, and destruction. The Supreme Soul is unlimited and beginningless, and although he is one, he has manifested himself in many forms. How can human society understand the ways of the Supreme? Please repeat. By his glance, the Supreme Personality of Godhead enables the modes of material nature to act as the causes of universal creation, maintenance, and destruction. The Supreme Soul is unlimited and beginningless. And although he is one, he has manifested himself in many forms. How can human society understand the ways of the Supreme? Purport. From Vedic literature, we learn that when the Supreme Lord glances Sai Ikshata over the material energy, the three modes of material nature become manifest and create material variety. Before he glances over the material energy, there is no possibility of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material world. The Lord existed before the creation, and consequently, he is eternal and unchanging. Therefore, how can any human being, however great a scientist or philosopher he may be, understand the ways of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? The following quotations from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adikanda, first chapter, 48 verse to 52nd verse, and first chapter, 58 verse to 69 verse, tell the glories of the Lord Ananta. Ki Brahma, Ki Shiva, Ki Sanakadi Kumara, Vyasa, Shuka, Naradadi, Bhakta Nama, Yara. Jara. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumara, Vyasadeva, Shukadeva Goswami, and Narada, all are pure devotees, eternal servants of the Lord. But Sabara Pujita Sri Ananta Mahashaya, Sahasra Vadana Prabhu Bhakti Rasamaya. Lord Sri Ananta is worshipped by all uncontaminated devotees mentioned above. He has thousands of foods and is reservoir of all devotional service. Adideva, Mahayogi, Ishvara, Vaishnava, Mahimara Anta Ina Na Janaye Sabha. Lord Ananta is the original person and great mystic controller. At the same time, he is the servant of God, a Vaishnava, since There is no end to his glories. No one can understand him fully. Sevana Sunile Ebe Shuna Thakurala Atmatantre Yena Mate Vaishnava Patala. I already spoken to you of his service to the Lord. Now hear how the self-sufficient Anantadev exists in the lower planetary system of Patala. Sri Narada Goshani Tumburu Kari Sange Se Yasha Gayane Brahmastane Shloka Vande. Bearing his stringed instrument, the Tumbur, on his shoulders, the great says Narada Muni always glorifies Lord Ananta. Narada Muni has composed many transcendental verses in the praise of the Lord. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sattvadi Yata Guna Jara Drishti Pate Haya Jai Puna Puna. Simply due to the glance of Lord Ananta, the three material modes of nature interact and produce creation, maintenance, and annihilation. These modes of nature appear again and again. Advitiya Rupa Satya Anadi Mahatva Tadapi Ananta Haya Ke Bhuje Se Tattva. The Lord is glorified as one without a second and the Supreme Truth who has no beginning. Therefore, he is called Anantadev, unlimited. Who can understand him? Shuddha Sattva Murti Prabhu Dharena Karnaya Ye Vigraha Sabara Prakasha Sulilaya. His form is completely spiritual and he manifests it only by his mercy. All the activities in this material world are conducted only in his form. Jahara Taranga Shiki Shimhi Mahavali Nijajana Mano Ranje Ana Kutuhali. He is very powerful and always prepared to please his personal associates and devotees. Ye Ananta Namera Shravana Sankirtane Ete Mate Kena Nahi Bole Ete Jane Ashesha Janmera Banda Chinde Shekshane Ateva Vaishnav Na Chade Kabutane. If we simply try to engage in the congregational chanting of the glories of Lord Anantadev, the dirty things in our heart accumulated during many births will immediately be washed away. Therefore, a Vaishnav never loses an opportunity to glorify Anantadev. Shesha by Samsar Rera Gati Nahi Ara Anantera Name Sarva Jivera Uddhara. Lord Anantadev is known as Shesha, the unlimited end, because he ends our passage through this material world. Simply by chanting his glories, everyone can be liberated. Ananta Prithvigiri Samudra Sahite Ye Prabhu Dharena Giri Palana Karite. On his head, Anantadev sustains the entire universe with its millions of planets containing enormous oceans and mountains. Sahasra Panara Ekafane Bindu Ena Ananta Vikrama Na Janena Ache Hena. He is so large and powerful that this universe rests on his hooves just like a drop of water. And even previous lokas we saw like white mustard seed. He does not know where it is. That much insignificant. Sahasra Vadane Krishna Yasa Jasha Nirantara Gaite Achena Adideva Mahidara. While bearing the universe on one of his hoods, Anantadev chants the glories of Krishna with each of his thousands of mouths. Gayana Ananta Sri Yashera Nahi Anta Jay Banga Nahi Karu Done Balavanta. Although he has been chanting the glories of Lord Krishna since time immemorial, he has still not come to their end. Adyapahi Shesha Deva Sahasra Shri Mukhe Gayena Chaitanya Yasa Anta Nahi Deke. In the same way. To this very day, Lord Ananta continues to chant the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and still he finds no end to them. Om Agnanati Mirantasya Gnananjana Kshalakaya Chakshurme Nilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Padamahyan Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapada Kamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam తం సజీవం సాద్వైతం సావధూతం పరిజన సహితం కృష్ణ చైతన్య దేవం శ్రీ రాధా కృష్ణ పాదాన్ సహగణ లలిత శ్రీ విశాఖాన్వితాంశ హే కృష్ణ కరుణా సింధో దీనబంధో జగత్పతే గోపేశ గోపికా కాంత రాధా కాంత నమోస్తుతే తప్త కాంచన గౌరంగి రాధే వృందావనేశ్వరి వృషభానుసుతే దేవి ప్రణమామి హరిప్రియే వాంఛాకల్పతరుభ్యశ్చ కృపా సింధుభ్యేవ చ పతితానాం పావనేభ్యో వైష్ణవేభ్యో నమో నమః నమో విష్ణుపాదాయ కృష్ణ ప్రేష్టాయ భూతలే శ్రీమతే భక్తి వేదాంత స్వామిన్ ఇతి నామినే నమస్తే సారస్వతి దేవే గౌరవాణి ప్రచారిణే నిర్విశేష శూన్యవాది పాశ్చాత్య దేశతారిణే జయ శ్రీ కృష్ణ చైతన్య ప్రభు నిత్యానంద శ్రీ అద్వైత గదాధర శ్రీవాసాది గౌర భక్త వృంద హరే కృష్ణ 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 హరే 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 రామ 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 హరే హరే. Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving the opportunity to speak about Lord Anantadev. Of course, it's very glorious to speak about Lord Anantadev. And of course, when there is no Anantadev, there is no Bhakti Tattva. Even Prabhupada quoted around 10 verses from Chaitanya Bhagavat in this today's thing. Basically, he is everything. Like in previously also we were hearing that Lord Anantadev expands unlimitedly for the service of the Lord Krishna. This is what we can see. In Vaikunta, every manifestation to serve the Lord is Anantadev. And now, when we talk about the glories of Anantadev, one thing that we can understand is even two slokas after, here also Prabhu many times quotes this verse also, 525:11. Yannama shrutam anukirtayed akasmad arto vayadipata pralambanad va hantamaha sapadi nunam asheshamanyam kamsheshad bhagavata astrayan mumukshuhu. Even main thing is that why we are chanting the glories of the Anantadev. Of course, we heard many times this words like Lord is the source of creation, maintenance, annihilation, all this and all. But why this glorification is happening again and again? See, when Sukadeva Goswami was explaining about each and every planet, he could have just went from one planet to another planet with the description just. But he don't, why he is also mentioning the glories of that respective deity when he is explaining about that planet? Because the name, holy name of the Lord, when the glories of the Lord has been chanted, this is the result. Even if he be distressed or degraded, any person who chants the holy name of the Lord, having heard it from a bona fide spiritual master, is immediately purified. Even if he chants the Lord's name jokingly or by chance, he and anyone who hears him are free from all sins. Therefore, how can anyone seeking disentanglement from material clutches avoid chanting of the name of Lord Shesha? Of whom else should one take shelter? So he is the ultimate shelter. See, when we are chanting, when we are singing Guru Puja song, then what we are saying? Ultimate shelter for us is Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, isn't it? And the Guru's lotus feet is ultimate shelter because of he is a representative of Anantadev. Just like now we are seeing this, no? Even that day Prabhu was showing, and it's there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, first chapter Adi Leela, this same verse when it is quoted in the purport, Srila Prabhupada was mentioning, which is the same thing here. All spiritual masters, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and other unallied Vaishnavas, the spiritual master is always considered to be either one of the confidential associates of Srimad Radharani are a manifested representation of Srila Nityananda Prabhu. Now, this point, now Srila Nityananda Prabhu. Why Srila Nityananda Prabhu has mentioned, and we can understand the glories of Nityananda Prabhu from CC Adi 1.7 onwards. Like even yesterday, Vishwambara Prabhu also was saying about this description of the first chapter, and day before yesterday. Why this one? Tatvait Prabhu released the first 14 verses videos. సంకర్షణ కారణతోయశయి గర్భోదశయి చ పయోదిశయి శేషశ్చ యశ్యాంశ కలశ నిత్య నందాఖ్య రమ శరణం మమస్తు. When Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami starting thing, he is actually, if we see first verse also, Vande Guru Sri Isha Bhaktan. So he is seeking the blessings from all gurus and the devotees, because Guru is representation of Nityananda Prabhu. And unless and until once we are not favored by Guru, we cannot understand the glories of Anantadev or Krishna, or even the glories of the devotees also we cannot understand unless and until the Guru gives us the mercy. May Sri Nityananda Ram be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshana, Sheshnaga, and the Vishnus who lie on the Karana ocean, Garbhoda ocean, and ocean of milk are his plenary portions, and portions of his plenary portions. I surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, who is known as Sankarshana, in the midst of Chaturvyuha, consisting of Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. He possesses full opulences and resides in Vaikuntha Loka, far beyond the material creation. We can see further verses also, till he comes to the Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana, Tattva, explanation, and glorification of Anantadev. But when it comes to the universal matters, even when the discussion comes between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sanatana Goswami in 21st chapter of Madhya Leela, when it has been started, the contest has been taken in this way by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Brahmadi Rahu Sahasra Vadane Ananta Nirantara Gaya Mukhe Napaya Gunera Anta. There is no end. That one he is even proving from Bhagavatam verses also. Further we can see. To say nothing of Lord Brahma, even Lord Ananta, who has thousands of foots, cannot reach the end of Lord's transcendental qualities. This is what we saw even in today's purport that Prabhupada was quoting. Even though he is continuously chanting their praises. When Brahma is saying the same point, this is from Narada Muni and Brahma conversation. Nantam vidamyahamami munayo grajaste maya balasya purushasya kuto varaye gayan gunan das dasha shatanana adi deva shesho dunapi samvasyati nasya param. If I, Lord Brahma, and your elder brothers, the great saints and sages, even today also we can see the first verse Chaitanya Mahaprabhu related to Chaitanya Bhagavat, Prabhupada started is about this point only. Me, Narada, Sanaka Sanata Sanandana, Vyasadev, no one can understand or come to the end of the chanting the glories of the Lord. Brothers, the great saints and sages cannot understand the limits of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of various energies. Who else can understand them? Although constantly chanting about his transcendental qualities, the thousand-hooded Lord Shesha has not yet reached the end of the Lord's activities. Like yesterday, we can hear the beautiful lecture when Prabhu was saying about the Uttama Shloka. See, Lord is always prized. Even Nasta Preshu Abhadreshu, in that also we are using the word Uttama Shloka. So this choicest poetry which has been prized by any devotee, like from coming through Guru Parampara, are the glories that has been spoken from the mouth of Anantadev. Glories spoken from the mouth of Anantadev. That's why any glories by any devotees, if we see, he could have just stopped with Anantadev. But when he mentioned about the devotees, that is also nothing but Anantadev only glorifying the Lord. And when we see the next verses, to say nothing of Anantadev, even Lord Krishna himself cannot find an end to his own transcendental qualities. Forget about others chanting the glories of the Lord. He himself also cannot find the end. Indeed, he himself is always eager to know them. That is the reason he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is eager to know how his devotees are glorifying and how they are enjoying the transcendental ecstasy from chanting the glories of his name. Even we can see in the Balamukunda posture, there is a thing called that Krishna is licking his lotus feet thumb. Then the reason they Bilomangal Thakur was saying is because everybody is tasting the transcendental nectar by touching his lotus feet. So he also want to see how much taste it is. That way. So this one, when Muchukunda, right? When Lord was speaking to Muchukunda, after Muchukunda opened eyes and burned Kalayavan, and then Krishna and Muchukunda meet each other. Then each one introduced to each other. Muchukunda first says, and then Krishna says about himself. Krishna is saying like this. Krishna himself is saying like this. The verse 21:14, what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami quoted, has been spoken by Krishna himself like this. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Janma Karmadi Vidhanani Shanti Menga Sahasrasha Na Sakyante Anushankyayatum Anantavan Mayapi Hi. Anantavan. There is no end. Mayapi Hi. About the glories of Krishna himself. What glories? His birth and transcendental activities. But we can see the translation. The Supreme Lord said, my dear friend, I have taken thousands of births, lived thousands of lives, and accepted thousands of names. In fact, my births, activities, and names are limitless, and thus even I cannot count them. Krishna, of course, still for understanding purpose. That's why when we see 4th chapter 9th verse, when I was reading this verse, 10th canto 5th chapter 36th verse, then when I was thinking about 4th chapter 9th verse, there Krishna is saying, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tetva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sarsu. But here, Krishna himself cannot count his Janma karma chame divyam. Then how we can understand? How to capture the Lord? That's why in our lifetime, whatever required for us has been given by Guru about the glories of Lord up to the level that we can understand. For example, like many times we quoted this part from 11th canto also in the purport, Ramayana here is 24,000 verses, Valmiki Ramayana. Whereas it is in the demigod's plan is 1 billion verses, 1 billion. And whereas it comes to the Ayodhya, it is unlimited, the glories of Rama. So basically there is no end. But for us to give the mercy, Lord is creating an end to end our birth and death. Anta. Anta means end. Ananta. There is no end. Unlimited end. The very word Ananta itself is Achintya. Cannot understand. Anta is what? Ananta is what? Unlimited end is what? End means there is something last. But unlimited end, where is the last thing? So, understand. I think echo. Understanding the glories of the Lord is definitely impossible. But by the mercy of spiritual master, we can understand. That's why we need that spiritual strength to even come to strong, firm faith in devotion. Like in 7th chapter, 9th verse, 45th sloka purport, right? Achyuta Bala. 45 only, right? You see? Huh? Purport. Achyuta Bala. 7:15. Sorry. Before that, we can see even that significant in this verse are the words Gnanasmin Achyuta Bala. But how to understand the Lord? Gnanasmin, the sword of knowledge, is given by Krishna, and when one serves the Guru and Krishna in order to hold the sword of Krishna's instructions, Balram gives one strength. Balram is Nityananda. Vijayendra Nandana Jai, Sachishuta Hela Chai. Balrama Haile Nitai. The Balarama comes with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and both of them are so merciful that in the age of Kali, one may very easily take shelter of their lotus feet. They come especially to deliver the fallen souls of this age. Papi Tapi Yata Chila Harinama Uddarila. Their weapon is Sankirtana Harinama. So the way to understand the Lord, especially in this age, is only chanting the holy name under the guidance of spiritual master. And now, when it comes to this point, right, like I was reading on the other day, the Prachetas topic. Of course, Prabhu was quoting about the Nardamuni topic also with Nalakuvera. Prachetas actually seemingly very high birth, everything and all, kingly persons. But when they are chanting the glories of the Lord, they are speaking like this. Okay, this one we can come later about this. 1 second. After these verses, there is one verse. They say, just because of Shiva mercy we saw it. Again, Shiva is representation of Ananta in 5th canto, 17th chapter we saw, in 5th canto, 25th chapter, in the first initial slokas we saw. He is always representative of Ananta, Sankarsana. Balram. 430, 33, something like that. 1 second. Dear Lord. 430, 31. This one about he is Ananta. He is none other than Ananta. But the point that I want to make is Shiva, because of Shiva's mercy, they saw him. Dear Lord, by virtue of moments of association. Yes. 38. So the glories of Lord Anandev are reaching to the tip end of the toe feet of the Anantadev. Only happens because of the moments of association or the moments of association of the pure devotee, who is representative of Anantadev. Dear Lord, by virtue of a moments of association with Lord Shiva, who is very dear to you and who is your most intimate friend, we were fortunate to attain you. You are the most expert physician capable of treating the incurable disease of material existence. Even now, just before the class was starting, with Veṇu Gopāl Prabhu talking about doctor. So doctor is about curing the disease. But That disease is only for this body, that also not fully cured. Always with side effects and then many problems. But the Lord cures the disease and Lord's devotees cures the disease in such a way that which will end our life after life diseases. Material existence, incurable disease of material existence. On account of our great fortune, we have been able to take shelter at your lotus feet. That great fortune is what? By virtue of moments of association with Lord Shiva. So the greatest fortune for any person in this world is devotees association. Through that only we can understand the glories of Lord Shiva, Lord Ananta. And if you see the previous verse, in fact, this is about similar to Tirthi Kurvanta Tirthani, but that before verse, they say, we are no longer bothered about getting birth again and again. See, just now, 2 verses after, like this is 4:30, 36, right? And then 2 verses after, what they are saying, it will end the material existence. It will end the repeated birth and death. Actually, it's not something which will end the repeated birth. It's something which will end the forgetful consciousness of Krishna. The devotees association ends for us the forgetful consciousness of Krishna. That one they are saying here like this. Yatra Narayana Sakshat Bhagavan Nyasinam Gatihi Samstuyate Sat Katashu Mukta Sangha Punah Punah. The Supreme Lord Narayana is present among devotees who are engaged in hearing and chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of God. Lord Narayana is the ultimate goal of sannyasi, Nyasagati. Those in renounced order of life, and Narayana is worshipped through this Sankirtana movement by those who are liberated from material contamination. Indeed, they recite the holy name again and again. I think the before verse of this. Even a moment's association with a pure devotee cannot be compared to being transferred to heavenly planets or even merging into Brahman effulgence. In complete liberation, for living entities who are destined to give up the body and die, association with the pure devotees is the highest benediction. Then after that, they say how they got that benediction through Lord Shiva. See, in our case, always we need to see who is our current Acharya. We cannot even connect to Lord Shiva directly. That much we should understand. So, it is not saying something for any demigod worship will lead you to Krishna. In 2.3.10, many multitude demigod worship will not. No. After that, many multitude demigod worship will not help you to get the association of the Lord. Only by pure devotee association it will happen. 2.3 only. I think after 11. Yad Bhagavata Sangatana. All the different kinds of worshippers of multi-demigods can attain the highest perfectional benediction, which is spontaneous attraction, unflinchingly fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by the association of pure devotee of the Lord. They will get the highest benediction actually because of the association of the pure devotee of the Lord. So the point that I am trying to make is, we can only understand the Lord, we can only glorify the Lord only by the association of the pure devotees. Yesterday I was seeing in one more place, I think not yesterday, day before yesterday, that Lord does not really like when others are glorifying His names. Here on in 4:30, Jai Shri Radha Madan. Lord really does not like the glorious light chanted by anyone else other than the devotee. In these things only 430. So Prabhupada was quoting Avaishnava Mukhodgirnam Utam Harigatamritam Shravano Naiva Shravano Naiva Kartavyam. So this purports only 430. There he was nicely explaining this one we cannot hear from others, especially the songs and all. We are all hearing to karmis, though devotional songs. These glories of Lord Anantadev are not something spoken by karmis. And we hear that and then I got ecstasy. Yeah. How I okay. In one of those purports in 4th canto, 30th chapter only, maybe someone can help me. So these points are mentioned. So these glories are not something that we can hear from non-devotees. That is the point that I am trying to make. And now we all know this famous one, that we can understand these glories by our intelligence? No. By our pravachan, like the art of pravachan? No. So what is that? Suddenly that Sanskrit is not coming. Intelligence, pravachan, we cannot understand the Lord. Nayamatma pravachanena. Na bahuna shrutena. This is in 10th canto, 87. Nayamatma pravachanena na medasa na bahuna shrutena. Yemeveshyashi vrinate tena labhyas taschaiva atma vivrinate tanuswan. We can see even this point also, that Sukadeva Goswami, when how a person can understand the Lord who is having the unlimited glories, only when Krishna shows mercy by himself to that person. The Supreme Lord is not obtained by expert explanations, by vast intelligence, or even by much hearing. He is obtained only by one whom he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. Unlimited forms of the Lord will be understood that the original form is Shamang Yam Shama Sundaram Achinta Gunaswarupam. That Lord Krishna is the one original form. That Govinda Madi Purusham. How to understand? By the mercy of the devotees, we get the mercy of the Lord. Yasya Prasada, Bhagavat Prasada. Every day that we are chanting. So, in all these aspects, one thing that we need to understand in common line is that Chadiyar Vaishnav Seva Nistar Paiche Keva. Without serving devotees, we cannot get the Lord. That one, even Prabhupada was also asked a question. So Prabhupada, do you understand everything about Lord? Do you know everything about Lord? And Prabhupada was saying, as much as the Lord allows me to know. See, he hid himself even among the devotees according to their want. For example, when Jambavan was fighting to Krishna, he could not realize initially, but even ultimately also, when he was seeing that Krishna, he is seeing as the same Lord Ram. Even Murari Gupta, in our Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seeing as Ram. So up to the level of the devotee, but the highest perfection is understanding Krishna. Even 1865 purport or 614 14th shloka onwards, Shukadeva Goswami himself was saying Narayana Parayana, Vasudeva Parayana. So what is highest? We are luckily in that parampara. Of course, anything related to the Lord is lucky only. So कोटि कर्मी मध्ये एक ज्ञानी श्रेष्ठ, कोटि ज्ञानी मध्ये एक भक्त श्रेष्ठ. Sudurlabha bhakti, very rare. Becoming a devotee itself is very rare. Even among that, understanding the glories of Krishna through the mouths of all the representatives of Anantadev is the best fortunate situation that we are all having. So we need to utilize it 100%. It's there up to us. On the other day, Subala Prabhu was posting a quiz about how many manifestations of Anantadev are there in our altar. Then all gurus, and then on Narasimha, the Hoots, and Nityanandaram, Balaram, all Sudarshan, all these things comes into the picture. That's why he expands himself unlimited. First of all, he is to be understood by bhakti only, and that also don't know how to perform it. So he himself comes again, shows as example through the form of Anandadev. For example, for servitude, we can see from Ram Lakshman how much Lakshman was serving to the Ram, and then Balram was serving to the, and then Nityananda was serving to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's why this Guru Tattva, the Anantadev Tattva, all this can be understood only through, again, current link of the spiritual one. So, of course, I did not touch about the topic of creation, creation, maintenance, and destruction, which we have heard from many times. The point that I am trying to make is how we can understand the transcendental Lord. That only by the mercy of the devotee. How to get the mercy of the devotee? By doing the same. By following the instructions that they have spoken. In our case, chanting at least 16 rounds, following 4 regulative principles, serving the Lord unflinchingly, and these all in between, the weeds should not grow. Vaishnava aparadh should not happen, which will become like mad elephant offense, which will kill our bhakti and progress towards Krishna, as it has been said in 19th chapter, 157 shloka onwards in Madhya Leela. So these are the points I am trying to make. But if there is anything else, please can add. Otherwise, we can end the class. You want the mic, Prabhu? No need? He is none other than Shesha. Because he was, see, Guru is the one who teaches us how to understand Krishna, and he came to teach us, and his expansion of Shesha, and as we saw in Chaitanya Bhagavat verses today also, first expansion of Anantadev is to become Guru Vaishnava. His manifestation. Representing Krishna. Sorry, who is representing Krishna? Exhibiting Krishna. First expansion of who exhibited Krishna. Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Ishavatarakan. Tat Prakasham Cha Tat Shakti. That word. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord, and the Lord's incarnations, his plenary portions, his energies, and the primeval Lord himself, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So, Sri Krishna Chaitanya manifested in these many forms. In that, the Adi Guru is Nityananda Prabhu, because there he was representing. इति तत् परम्. Disclosure. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything. As the sun lights up everything in the daytime. Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata. Prakashantam Mahatma. Swayam Prakash. That in fifth chapter we can see those verses, right? Adili. Fifth chapter. Because last time in Nityananda class, Prabhu was showing those verses. Adili. 1:7. Adi 1:7. 14 verses lecture. Yes. Yes. 1:7 lecture. Prakash. So the Milasa. अच्छा. प्रकाश विग्रह विलास. I could not hear. Ah. Yes. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. निताय गौर. हरि हरि.